Hello, welcome to Coffee with the Candidates. We are talking with school board candidate Amanda Johnson here today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to remind all the voters, April 12th is election day. You can vote in advance starting March 28th, and we encourage you to go out to the voting polls, which are City Hall or Fire Station number 2. And as a reminder, the school district has different boundaries than the city of Yankton, so please, I believe it's on the school district's website, it shows what the actual boundaries are to see, even if you don't live in the city of Yankton, you might be eligible to vote in the Yankton School District election.
Absolutely. I hear that a lot, and people don't know. I wish I could vote, I'm in county, but no, it's not a city commission election, it's a school board, so you can vote.
Correct. It is very important to know which boundaries you're in. So would you please just start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, right now I'm the candidate really rethinking the fact that I scheduled this on the first day after the time change, daylight savings time. But no, I am a Yankton girl. I was born and raised here in Yankton. I grew up going to school here. I actually used to do news for the radio, and I would cover school board meetings. So I had a lot of time at those meetings, and back then I knew running for the school board was something that I would like to do. And here we are. And then I went off to college at Arizona State University, and I graduated and moved back here and met my husband, and we got married, and we have a 7-year-old son who's just the best. He's our world. I'm an animal lover. We have 3 dogs, and I coach my son's soccer, which I really, really enjoy. I've coached it for the last couple of years, and always had such a respect for my teachers, but there's a newfound respect for kindergarten and first grade teachers. That's a lot of energy in that age group, and it is so much fun, and it's hilarious. But yes, that they are on a whole other level of amazing. But we have some businesses here in the community, and I'm surrounded by a lot of family, a lot of our families here, and I feel so fortunate to be here. Yankton's a great place, and I'm very happy to be here.
So I do want to thank you for being one of the media people for school board meetings. I know for city and county and covering some of those in the past as you had.
Way back when.
It's really important to have that type of coverage.
Yeah, yes. Yep.
So can you tell us why you're running for the Yankton School Board?
Just as a mom of a young child, I feel it's important for me to be more involved. And like I said, I grew up going to school here. And so I've experienced firsthand how wonderful the education system is here. And I feel I benefited greatly from it. And so, I loved school. I loved my teachers. And running for the school board is a natural step. And I just feel like now is the right time.
So as an elected official, it's hard to put aside your personal beliefs and represent the majority of the constituents that you would represent. So can you give me an example of how you would do that as a Yankton School Board member?
Yes, first of all, I think as an elected official, people, and that's why it's so great we're doing, coffee with the candidates, and there are opportunities to campaign so people who maybe that don't know you can get to know you a little bit better and see who the candidates are and what they would bring to the table. So I think when you are an elected official, people do put some confidence and faith in you, and when they elect you, they're electing someone who's going to be who's able to best represent them. And hopefully they're looking for people with integrity, people who are able to look at issues with a well-rounded view, with an open mind, and be fair and honest and open. And so if you are elected, I think that a part of you comes with that. It's not like you're outside of, they have elected the person they feel that would best represent them, and that is you. And so part of you is a part of that. But I do feel as an elected official, communication is very important. And so I feel in order to properly serve, you do have to communicate with, the people. And, I think one small thing that would make a big difference in terms of the school board, some of the meetings that I attended, you had a lot of parents there that had concerns. And, the format of the meeting, it didn't really facilitate discussion. And so you had a lot of people talk about their concerns, a lot of parents, and then it was a little closed off, and then the school board voted. And it didn't seem like there was even proper time to digest the concerns, in this case, the concerns that were raised. And so I feel like just opening that up, having a question and answer, opening up and having a little discussion would go a long way and make a big difference. And, with the Early Childhood Development Center, there's a lot of encouragement to let's have a question and answer. We want public input. There's a lot of that being encouraged, and I think that's so wonderful. And I think we should do that with all issues. And I think that would really help, as you are serving, as you are a public servant, an elected official, I think that would really help. You don't know what the people want unless you're having those open discussions and conversations and the dialogue there. So I think that's really important. I think that's a small change you could make, but on a school board especially, you are making decisions that affect people's children. So that is something that is huge and something that I would, take very seriously, and I would be honored to do. But I think, you have to keep the conversation open conversations in order properly to serve.
So how do you perceive that you would solicit feedback from communities or members of the school district?
Well, there are a lot of different, I have a lot of different ideas from that, just by being a part of that and observing. And also I do think you need to, if elected, take the proper time to kind of see where things are working or not. But in terms of this, I think maybe there should be a parent advisory board. I think parents across the board are wanting to be a little bit more involved and have more of a say, and maybe educate them themselves more on what's going on, because we haven't seen a lot of that. There have been different times, but I feel like in the past 2 years parents are more open to that and want that. And the school board has a lot going on. They have a lot of issues, and so I think it may help. I mean, that's just an idea, to have a parent advisory board where you have a group of parents, and they almost are a liaison between the parents and the school board. That would be an idea. I mean, I think, right now you email the school board, you have to get on for public comment period. And I think it, you can come up with ways to just facilitate discussions more. I think that just would help everyone.
Yeah, I agree that the open communication is definitely helpful. And I'm not sure what the rules are as far as school board meetings and what has to be on the agenda
and the way the format is.
Right.
I know, in terms of public comment, that has to be done, I mean, and that's certainly stuff to look into. Mm-hmm. But I think as parents want to be more involved, that's something that's going to have to be looked at.
Absolutely. So what are your priority projects for the Yankton School District?
So again, just being my authentic self, I feel maybe going in with a big project idea or an agenda is not really my style. I feel if elected, I would like to get in there and take a little time to evaluate and assess and see which programs are working, which ones could use a little help, or where there are areas where there's nothing and you could bring something in. And I am someone who's, once I'm a part of something, I give 110%, and I wouldn't be running for the school board if I wasn't excited and didn't have enthusiasm for it. And so it's something I'm passionate about. I'm really passionate about these kids, and I grew up with such a positive experience. I had such a positive experience growing up here and going to school here. And so I think that's really important. And there are so many challenges in today's world to keep on top of that and make sure that classroom is a very positive space, self-esteem building space. You build these kids up and make it as happy as you can be, because happy kids, they encourage others, they don't bully. I think it's important to find ways in which to do that. I'm someone that I always have a lot of ideas. I'm innovative. I have a lot of ideas that I would like to bring to the table. So I think really nailing down like a specific priority project is not really authentic to me right now, in terms of not being on the board yet, just as running, for the first time for the school board. Another area that I think, and not to get long-winded here, but another area in terms of talking about projects and what you think would make a difference. I think worldwide, I think there's going to have to be more focus on kids' mental health. And I think that, they're already doing that. They're already, they're talking about mindfulness, and there are programs in place. But I think especially coming out of the last 2 years, we're seeing it, the stress and anxiety these kids have, the pressure, the weights that, they have on their shoulders, and just, in terms of school and a school board and students, you really want to teach those lifelong skills. And I think that this is an area in which, if you can teach them some tools, whether you incorporate it into a program, they're learning the curriculum, that they would just greatly benefit from it. And I think that it's going to be needed. And I think that whatever is being done will need to be expanded on for sure. And again, just, there are so many different ideas of projects and ways to bring other groups in to help facilitate that. But I think that, I'm very pro-health, and I think that there are a lot of different areas that would be, I guess, exciting to tackle, and that are really going to need to be looked at.
Well, that's a great segue into our next question of partnerships and collaborations. That's really important within the city of Yankton, in the region, around the state, and even nationwide, quite honestly. Can you tell us what you would do to help strengthen existing relationships or maybe grow some new ones?
Yes. Well, again, I think that's one of those areas where, as a first-time candidate, coming in, it helps to take a little time to assess and to see what program. And I've seen great programs out of there. I think Yankton's just such a special place. I mean, they really are. They had great teachers. They have a great education system, and they do a lot. There's a lot of action there. So I think that, what I can say as a new candidate coming in is I'm someone who is innovative. When as a business owner, you're always having to think of new ideas and how to incorporate new ideas in to make it successful. And also, as a director, when I was with Keep Yankton Beautiful, that's all we did is we had programs and partnerships throughout the community. That's a strength of mine, working within those partnerships and having an idea and seeing it come to fruition and executing that. So, for me as a candidate coming to the table, that's what I could bring. And I think that until you're really in there and you're looking at the different partnerships and the different programs and which ones, need to be strengthened or which ones are moving along just fine or where there are areas where you could add more, I think you would be better able to answer a question in depth like that once you have a little of that in there. And I think it's important too to bring in fresh new ideas and perspective.
So as a community member, can you name one project that you are proud the school district accomplished, and maybe one that you think could have gone better?
Well, I think not necessarily a project. I think that when we talk about that early childhood development center and we talk about that capital outlay funds, that's very impressive. I mean, having finances in order is important and impressive. And so I think they've done a great job on the financial end with keeping their finances in check and having that money. And so they should be commended for that. That's good. You don't want to be running in the red, and you want to stay on top of that. So I think that was something that I'm impressed by. And then again, just kind of coming back to, that could use more work. I think that just for me comes back to just opening up the communication and finding ways to incorporate that. And I think that, again, would just be better for everyone all around.
So we've talked about it a little bit already, about the Early Childhood Development Center. Mm-hmm. Can you share more of your thoughts on that, please?
Sure. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and there's a lot of excitement there, and it seems like they've done a very well-researched plan. They've had their task force. It seems like they've done a very complex assessment, and it seems like they've found where there's needs and where how to take care of those needs, and there's a lot of excitement about it. I think it sounds really great, but there are a lot of questions, and I think it's really important that the public comment period on April 19th, to get a feel for what more community members or the public is thinking and what questions they have and what concerns. And then, obviously before voting on something for anyone that is voting in, you would have to take a closer look at the financials and the plan and how phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3 all come together. And so, but no, I think that it sounds like a very well-researched plan and something a lot are excited about.
So in full disclosure, I have served on that task force and have attended those meetings. And the consultants did a fantastic job.
Sounds like it.
Listening to members of the community, because there was a lot of diversity. There were some educators there, some older generational people, some people with young families, some people with no kids. It was just a really great mix of people who all had differing opinions that they tried to mold those into something that would meet the needs of the school district. And they did not come in with a preconceived notion of what our district needed. It was listening to the community of what do we want our district to look like.
And I think that's wonderful. I think if we approach a lot of big, the big projects or issues, that we would go a lot. I mean, that's the way to do it. That's great. And it sounded like that when Ron spoke, and it just sounded like you really reached out to different groups. And what did people, this was an interesting point someone brought up, and I thought this was interesting. You have your Beadle and Webster and you have your elementary schools. What was the feedback on, well, what about people that live in those communities? It's nice to have that closeness. They just walk to school or whatever, if you would eventually take that away and have them all at one place.
Yeah, that's a great question to take to the public meeting. And Dr. Kindle does have information that he can provide about how many kids actually attend a school close to them or open enrollment in another school. That's really good data to look into. So I don't want to share too much with the viewing audience.
I'm turning around asking. I just thought that was an interesting thing because I'm excited about it, and again, as more information comes out and you look at it, take a deeper look at it. But and that was one of the things I thought, oh yeah, I guess, I was a beetle bug. I walked right to school and but yeah, I just thought that would be interesting feedback to hear.
Yeah, and I believe that's all public information that Dr. Kendall is willing to share as far as who walks within the district.
Because I know
how many open enroll.
So. Yeah. Okay.
So in closing, is there something that you would like to mention today that was not in one of the previously asked questions that will help the voters decide if you have earned their vote?
I think we've covered a lot. I've talked a lot on here. No, I just, like I said, I'm a product of this school district. I'm a product of this education system, and I have nothing but wonderful memories of that. And I'm at a time now where if I could help pay back and serve, and like I said, as a parent of a young child, I would be honored. So,
well, thank you so much.
You.
And once again, election April 12th.